My background within elite sports and sports performance has been across three key areas really. It's either been as an exercise physiologist, as a strength and conditioning coach, right in there getting those athletes fitter, faster, stronger, and as a nutritionist. And more often than not, I've kind of occupied all three roles at the same time, depending on where I'm based. And I've been doing that now for nearly 25 years. Everything from taking international rugby teams to World Cups, to athletes taking part in the Olympics, to again people taking on some of the craziest events in the world. And I've worked with elite specialist forces all around the world. In those capacities, I've functioned as an exercise physiologist, strength and conditioning coach, and a nutritionist. I can guarantee you that when it comes to adaptation and improvement and developing our fitness, our strength, whichever component of it is, it all comes down to effective recovery. Exercise is really, really important. Knowing how to exercise well, meaningfully at the right intensity. But it's all a waste of time if we don't recover. If we cannot restore the system, and more importantly, optimize the system through recovery, then that exercise is a waste of time. It will give us limited benefit and limited return. So we're always looking to effective recovery strategies, everything from how we hydrate, to our sleep patterns, to our stretching behaviors, but definitely our nutritional behaviors. I say this all the time, you are what you eat. Nutrition is the key to adaptation, to recovery, and to improvement. So when we start to look again at, well, what facets are at play, what's happening within the body, and what can we do to optimize the body's condition in order for it to adapt, in order for it to get better, make improvements, stronger, fitter, faster. Well, we need to look at things at a cellular level, because again, when we just focus on gross architectural things, well, we're building castles on sand, and before long we will break them down. And more often than not, in my experience, where I've seen athletes burn out or not really hit where they need to go, it's because they do exactly that. It's constant build on top, but what's underneath isn't enough to sustain them and to enable them to cope in the long term. If you are not right at a cellular level, you cannot be right at a muscular level, because your muscles are made of cells. So we need to take this seriously. We need to look at methods and ways that we can optimize our cell behavior and our cell integrity. And that's what looking at the omega-6-3 ratio does. And that's what prioritizing those omega-3s achieves for us. And we can achieve that through using the balance oil. The balance oil is such a convenient key to it. I will still and always will encourage you to look at your diet. Increase your intake of fatty fish. Increase your intake of those good polyunsaturated fatty acids, the full array. But we need more than that, because what's available to us and down to nutrition density is simply not adequate. We need to get up to speed with the 21st century. We need to recognize those problems and therefore identify the solutions, the workable solutions, the ones that lend themselves to our busy lifestyles and to some level of convenience. And for a simple little trick every single day, which is to take your balance oil, you're going to achieve so much. From there are other options. Remember, when we inspire those inflammatory markers through our exercise, which we want to do, the acute inflammatory stage is vital. Once we stir all that up, once through our exercise we've broken down muscle tissue, and we know this because in the blood we can measure creatine kinase, we know that the body has got those hormonal markers of damages prevailing, we need all that. Well, what we need to do then is get in there and control that inflamed environment. We need to get in there and start to feed the body with nutrients. The real food pyramid starts with nutrition. Then it goes to energy, and the tiny bit at the top is entertainment. Those foods that you just like because of the sake of liking them, the flavor, the taste. That should be the tiny part. Those nutrients make up the base of that pyramid. So what we want to do is we want to get in there and put them into the system. We can get stacks from our diet, but we can also add to that to make sure we're getting enough. And that's where products like Extend come into their own. That's where products like Xenobiotic come into their own. Much of what we do, particularly if you're an endurance athlete, takes its toll on the gut. We know that. Research paper after research paper looking at the impact of endurance athletes takes its toll on the gut. So we need to look at gut health. And we also know that as an athlete, as someone who's training and exercising regularly, we're depleting stores far more rapidly and aggressively every single day. So we need to put plenty of good stuff back in. That's what these products enable you to do cleverly. Poor supplementation is like any poor practice. It's a waste of time. And more often than not, people can engage with the wrong types of product, and therefore it's a double negative. But intelligent supplementation with intelligent products only bring about good outcomes, and that's what I'm advocating. That's what I've advocated for 25 years with the athletes who've gone on to compete and win and claim medals and achieve at the highest possible level. And that's what I'm encouraging you to do. Not just consider, but to act upon. Start to structure your recovery around intelligent thinking, intelligent design, and products that make a difference.